So as Superwockeez, we performed in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 2012, and 10 years later, we performed again at the Red BC One World Final in New York in 2022. 10 years apart. Which performance did you like more?
Oh.
What's up, everyone? I'm B-boy Ronnie, and welcome to District Talks, a podcast where we're going to be discussing the evolution of breaking with some of my good friends who made an impact in the world of dance. In today's episode, I have one of my closest friends from Las Vegas, by way of Phoenix, Arizona, an OG from the original Jabbawockeez, the world famous Jabbawockeez, my brother from another mother, Jeffrey Wynn, aka Phi.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Phi?
What's up, Prez?
Yo. So let's start from the beginning. I know you're originally from Phoenix, Arizona. Like, how did you end up there?
My family ended up there. So I'm first generation Vietnamese family, you know. My parents fled the war.
Vietnam War.
The Vietnam War, sorry, yeah. Vietnam War, I figured, you know. But yeah, so my parents fled the Vietnam War and came to America for obviously a better opportunity for their kids, which is my oldest brother and my oldest sister, my only sister. And I was, you know, that was like in 75. And then my other older brother, I'm the youngest of four.
You're the only one born in American soil?
Fred was born in San Diego. And then after San Diego, my parents, there was a church in Arizona that sponsored my family. And so my parents decided to move to Arizona because the church sponsored my family. They helped, you know, and part of that sponsorship was like helping my mom and dad get a job, find a house to house their, you know, our family. And yeah, fast forward, I was born in 81. And so, yeah, myself and Fred were born in America, so that's why we have American names. And then my oldest sister, my only sister, and my oldest brother, rest in peace, have Vietnamese names.
Let's talk about the origin story of your name, Phi. Is that a nickname or is this a family name that was given to you?
So again, I was born in the States, born in Phoenix. So my parents gave me an Americanized name. So my government name is Jeffrey.
You know, we didn't find this out until like years later.
I know.
On the email thread.
I know, on an email
thread.
thread.
Who's Jeffrey? Ben was like, Jeffrey is Phi.
Yeah. He goes, wait a second, who's... And this fool don't reply to no emails, dude. And the only email he replies to is, who is Jeffrey? I'm like, it's me, bro. No, it's not, bro. You're lying. You're Phi, dude. I'm like, no, I'm Jeffrey, dude. No, you're lying. Like, he didn't want to believe. He's like, no, you're Phi, dude. You don't even look like a Jeffrey. I'm like, I know. I don't know. My parents figured it out and picked my name, you know.
That's hilarious.
So the story of that is, so Phi is a real Vietnamese name.
Okay.
My grandmother couldn't speak English. She didn't speak English, so she couldn't say Jeffrey. She said, yep, Phi. And yep in Vietnamese means like sandal. Mm-hmm. And so she was kind of like being funny about it, like word playing with it. And she's like, yeah, yep, toi kêu nó Phi. So in Vietnamese, that means shoes, sandals, whatever. Let's call him Phi. I can't say Jeffrey. So fast forward, when I started dancing, you know, they try to give me all types of like cool B-boy names, like, you know, like the Fire or whatever, or, you know, just random like crazy B-boy names. And my homie Gus, G-Man, shout out G-Man, he was like, do you have a nickname? And in my mind, I'm like, no, I don't have no nickname. Because in the house, they would always call me Phi. Mm-hmm. That's just my name. And he goes, well, what do your parents call you? And I go, well, they call me Phi. And he's like, why? I'm like, because that's just my grandma couldn't say Jeffrey, but Phi's a real Vietnamese name, so they call me Phi at home. And he goes, yo, you could be like phenomenal or something. Like, I'm like, no, that sounds kind of corny, bro. You know, like, but then he goes, you know what? That's dope, because culturally, that's your name. So you just go by Phi, dude. Like, you don't need no crazy name. Like, and the story in itself on how you got Phi is dope. Like, you should just go as Phi. So, when I started dancing, I just started repping as Phi.
So your old friends used to call you Jeffrey or Jeff.
So people in high school still only know me as Jeff.
No way.
Yeah,
really?
they don't.
Whoa.
I mean, they follow my career now, so they
Yeah.
know Phi.
Yeah.
But like, if you run into like my high school friends, they still to this day call me Jeffrey or Jeff.
That's so weird, bro. I
Yeah.
can't picture you as a Jeff.
I know. I can't picture me as a Jeff either. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
And I take pride in that name because my grandmother gave me
Yeah.
that name pretty much, and
beautiful.
I loved her. She was like my dude. I love my grandma so much when I was a kid, dude. Still do. You know, I lost her at a fairly young age, but you know, I'll never forget that woman, man. She was like the backbone of my family. You know, she helped out my parents when they were working, and my parents had 4 kids. You know, and they had just moved from Vietnam. You know what I mean? Like still trying to learn the language and still trying to get used to the food and the taste and the culture out here. And you know, they were grinding, bro, while their kids were at home with Manoit, which means grandma in Vietnamese. So yeah, she pretty much raised me, man, and in my very younger years. So she's my heart, dude. So the name Phi is like special to me, you know. But yeah, it's funny because my friends in high school, they'll randomly come out to Vegas and
They'll call you Jeff.
yeah, hey,
Like,
in front of everyone else that knows me as Phi, and that just shows how long. If you call me Jeff, you either are someone that I pay bills to, like
Right.
my house, like my
Yeah.
mortgage. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Or you're someone that actually knew me in junior high and high school, and didn't know, because when I started dancing, I had my set of high school friends, and then I had my dance friends.
That's a beautiful thing about being a dancer because, you know, dancers usually have an alias and it was always an alter ego, right?
Yeah.
It's like people that saw you knew you for, you know, if it was Jeff and your government name, and then they see you perform in an assembly. It's like, oh, shoot.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Jeff. Oh, no, that's Phi.
Yeah. No, it was cool. Even when they saw me, so I remember my junior year, I had a little crew, whatever, and we performed at my high school talent show, and that was the first time that most of my friends, I mean, they knew I danced, but they just didn't see it because I wouldn't showcase it at school or anything. And then when we finally did the talent show, they were like, "No way! You know how to like get on your hands, and you know how to wave and pop, and you know how to pop lock." You know what I mean? You know, so they were kind of shocked by it. And then obviously I moved to LA at a young age. I moved to LA at like 18, 19, and that's when I pursued my dance career. And you know, you kind of lose touch with all your high school friends, and I'm caught up in this dance life and this industry, and you know, the industry knew me as Phi. And so fast forward again, I get to ABDC. Now it's like, you know, it's 2008. I'm supposed to graduate in 2000. So it's like almost a decade later, they haven't seen me or heard from me or anything, like, you know, unless, I mean, I kept in contact with some people, but next thing you know, they see me on television and they're like, "Yo,
wild,
dude,
right?
like,
yeah.
this fool was in my math class."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Well, when he decided to show up, he was in my math class or
That's
whatever.
wild,
And so and that's when my high school friends were like, "Yo, like everyone was rooting for us, man." You know, like
That's so dope.
yeah, it was cool. So
Who were some of the B-boys at that time that you were mimicking or that you looked up to?
the one dude that made me kind of like trip out was Flowmaster. I remember watching Seven Gems tape. I don't know if do you remember Seven Gems?
Of course.
And there was clips of him like during the freestyle era where he was kind of like house dancing but freestyling, but then he was also a b-boy,
Yeah.
and he was also a martial artist, and I was just blown away. Like, this dude can not only smoke you in the cypher, but he could whip your ass too, you know what I mean? And it was just like, I was such a, and you know, I'm a big Bruce Lee fan, you know, so I always just thought dancing was another way of moving your body. And Bruce Lee always talked about movement, you know, Jeet Kune Do, and, you know, so yeah, Flowmaster was like a huge inspiration for me. So who else? And then I started driving down the rabbit hole. Until this day, Flowmaster is still one of my idols, you know?
Yeah. One of the most versatile dancers. Like, I would say he's probably one of the first B-boys to really break through in that industry in LA. Like,
Yeah, for sure. And he was proficient at every language of street dance. And not just every language. He was articulate in every language of it, whether it be foundation and hitting the ground, or whether it be locking.
Locking, yeah.
It wasn't like he was just doing it. He was like articulate in every aspect of it.
And choreography, because at that time, breakers were a specialty act, and they would just hire him separately just to break.
Absolutely.
But he was able to, you know, he was touring with Usher, so he's also doing all the choreo.
Oh, yeah.
On top of having his solo breaking moments.
Oh yeah, I mean, and he would be body doubles for, you know, he was body double for Usher in the My Way video. I think he was the one doing windmills.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, Flo was still is the man to me, you know, like a high inspiration for me. God, who else? Obviously Ken Swift.
Yeah.
Who doesn't know Ken Swift, right? Easy Rock is still, you know, Easy Rock was like one of my, I just thought he was just so flavorful, you know what I mean? And God, who else? And that's like the older generation, and then it started getting into people kind of like our generation. And then, you know, and then now we're the older guys, and I'm still looking at the younger generation, and I look up to those guys too, man. Like there's some crazy, I mean, breaking has just grown so much, and there's just so much talent in the world. It's kind of like mind-blowing, you know, but.
It's cool because, you know, you're rooted in breaking, or that was like, you started breaking, but you learned all the other styles of freestyle and choreography, but a lot of people don't know that about you. They just look at you as, you know,
yeah,
a
like
choreography
a choreo dancer. Yeah.
So fast forward, you eventually moved to LA and you went to pursue your dance career in that industry. Could you talk about that experience?
Yeah, so, I mean, I got into dancing in Phoenix, kind of taught at local dance studios. Back then, like, the programs were called jazz funk. It wasn't really hip hop, you know what I mean? And then they started implementing the word hip hop in these, you know, mom and pop shop dance type, dance studios.
Was that controversial, the fact that they were calling it hip hop, even though?
I think it was so new that it didn't become controversial yet.
Oh, okay. Because people were getting work, right?
People were just getting work.
Yeah.
I was able to balance that though. Like, I wasn't just teaching choreo. I was teaching like top rocks and like the stuff that I was learning from Furious Styles Crew, the stuff that I was learning from House and Odin and Miracles and all these dudes that were my inspirations, my local heroes, my big bros. You know what I mean? Stuff that I would learn from like the Thunderbird Teen Center to Sunny Soap Center to all these youth centers that I would learn breaking from, and then I would take that and teach it into the studios and actually teach like this is what it's called. This is, you know, it was important to me to, because all these studios had like ballet terms and jazz terms, and I'm like, it's important for these kids that are gonna take hip hop to learn our terms, you know what I mean? And so, and I was strict too. Like, these kids would come in with like jazz shoes and stuff. I'm like, no, man, you go change your shoes. Yeah. You know, just like if you go into ballet class, you got to put your hair in a bun, and you got to wear like the proper attire. Like, you know, come to my class with some sweats, and you don't necessarily have to like be in a fashion show, but be comfortable and be ready to learn some hip hop. You know.
So when you first moved to LA, you already started teaching, or were you also trying to do some industry commercial work?
So I was teaching in Phoenix locally. It was just a way for me to make some money. And back then I was making like $15 a class. You know what I mean? Like, each class was like an hour. And that was a lot to me. I was like,
yeah, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's more than minimum wage.
For sure. Well, I mean, it started, but I was so new, I would only teach like one class a week.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, you know, but then I started building up my repertoire and resume, if you will. And then I went with House and all them to LA for, it's been so long. I can't remember if it was B-boy Summit or if it was Battle of the Year. So I believe it was B-boy Summit. We went for an event, and that was one of the first times I'd been to like a major, because I went to like local jams, you know what I mean? But that was the first time I actually traveled out of state to go to an actual event. And I was, you know, tripping off that event. I was super excited. I got to see all the people that I was watching on VHS live, you know.
That's always special,
Yeah, I was just like, I can't believe I'm like, it felt like I met like when I first met Flowmaster, I was completely like starstruck. You know what I mean? And I remember that day. I was like 16. But to answer your question, went to LA for that event, and on our way back, we caught wind of an agency holding an audition. And at the time, the agency was called KSA. KSA, I think, stood for like Kazarian, Spencer, and Associates or something like that. I didn't know. I didn't even know what a dance agent was. You know, I had no clue what. I didn't know dancing had agencies. You know what I mean? So we caught wind of it, and we're like, well, let's just go hit it up before we head back to Phoenix. So we went and auditioned, and I ended up getting kept.
Wow.
And the people that kept me was Affion Crockett.
Whoa.
And
wait, Affion was part of the agency that was casting?
Well, Affion and my dear friend to this day, Jason Wright, he was a big choreographer in LA. And Jason was teaching the choreography part, and Affion and Jason were judging the freestyle part.
Oh, so it was an audition to get into the agency.
To have agency representation, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. And so I ended up getting kept. Affion kept me for the freestyle I mean, and at that time I was just breaking, so
yeah, that's cool.
I was inspired by flow.
Is there footage of this?
There might be.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever filmed that audition that day, it's floating around somewhere,
Yeah.
but I don't have it, But yeah, and I that was one of the first times that I had kind of learned like LA style choreography. Because in Arizona, like I would learn just our local stuff, and then whatever we would teach each other. And then my first professional job in Arizona was dancing for the WNBA. It was a hip hop squad called the Phoenix Mercury Hip Hop Squad. That was my first time. So because of that job, it taught me how to learn choreography. And by that time, I had moved to LA. And when I moved to LA, when I went to LA for that audition, for the jam and then the audition, that was the first time I learned LA style choreo. And so,
what was LA style choreo? Like
just like music video stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
early, like late 90s. Very pop, very almost like fast movement, almost athletic type movement. Not intricate like that, as far as musicality and stuff.
Of course, because with those choreography gigs that you had to book, you had to learn it within a day or two, right?
Oh, I mean, you would have to learn it right then and there, actually, within that day. You know what I mean?
And then perform it the next day.
And then, not even perform it, but like, I mean, there's a level of rehearsal, right? If you're actually on the gig.
True.
But if you're auditioning, you got to learn it that day. And then sometimes the artist will come in and sit right there in front of you. And then you got to pretty much perform whatever you learned right in front of the artist. And then they pick your number if you get kept. And if you don't get kept, you're out,
So you were teaching and you're also auditioning for a lot of these industry gigs, right?
Correct.
Like music videos, movies, commercials.
Everything.
So
Everything
what
across the
are
board.
some of your favorite gigs that you booked?
Favorite gigs I booked? I didn't really book anything, man.
Oh, shit. Let's shed some light on that industry first and foremost, because it's typecasted, right? It has nothing to do with your talent. It's
Correct.
on your look. That's probably like half the
Yeah,
battle.
that's half the battle, for sure. And then just being the new guy. It's like high school, man. You're like, it's your freshman year. You're getting to meet all these cool kids, and you get to meet like the outcasts, and then you get to meet like, I was kind of like the outcast. I was freshman year in high school in the industry, right? And there is typecasting, because imagine me at 19 years old, like skinny, probably like 120 pounds wet, you know what I mean? Baggy clothes, 5'6", 5'7" or whatever, like Asian. They're not gonna hire me to dance behind Destiny's Child. Doesn't make sense, or dance behind who's another big artist like Tyrese, or my look just didn't. And I get it, because I actually worked in the industry, so I actually understand why I didn't get booked, and I wasn't offended, because I knew I was talented. But I didn't really book any jobs. I booked one job that was huge, and it was after Jam Master Jay from Run DMC had passed away. They held a tribute at the Billboard Music Awards.
Right, that's right. I think that's one of the first times I met you.
That was one of the first times I met you, and it was here in Vegas.
That's right.
And
at MGM.
At MGM, full circle, right?
Wow.
And then now we've had our show at MGM for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
But that was my first major gig, and I was booked as a B-boy. And the dance captain was Flowmaster.
Whoa. Another full circle moment, right?
I was tripping. I was like, I can't believe I booked this job as a B-boy. And we literally had like 3-4 seconds to go hit 2 moves and hit a freeze and then run off. You know what I mean? And, you know, camera angles and cuts, like, it was quick, bro.
Yeah.
But it was a huge moment for me, you know? That was probably like my favorite job. I booked a couple little jobs here and there, dancing for like upcoming artists.
Right.
Like Dave Scott from You Got Served.
Yeah.
Dave Scott hired me a lot for like little upcoming gigs and whatever. But most of my income was from teaching. But I moved to LA to be a dancer. I wanted to be a dancer. I had no interest in teaching, but I taught because it paid the bills.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I fell into fully teaching. And like maybe the first 6 months of teaching in or living in LA, my first gig, like consistent gig, was teaching at this place called the Edge Performing Arts Center in Hollywood.
And it's still around to this day?
I don't know if it's in the same location, but yeah, the Edge is still around. Yeah, it's kind of like the Juilliard of the West Coast.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a performing arts center. So I was like I was the beginning hip hop teacher there. I actually took Tabitha Napoleon's slot because they ended up leaving on tour. I believe with Destiny's Child, and I was subbing classes for a lot of people, but I wasn't on faculty yet. I was just a substitute teacher. And because of me subbing all these other classes, they were like, hey, do you want your own class? It's a beginning hip hop class. I was like, I'll take whatever you give me, man. So I took that slot, but then and then before they went on tour, I had my own slot, but it was at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. So imagine, no one was coming to my class at 9 a.m.
So you had to build it up.
I had to build it up. It took me about 10 years to build up my consistent core group of students that would train under me. So
that was your main gig. Your main gig in LA when you moved out there was teaching.
Teaching.
So teaching became second nature to you.
No, I had to work at it. I didn't know how to count music. I just knew how to move, and I could beatbox stuff, you know, but to actually make them understand.
Right.
Was something that I had to kind of work at. But it was quick. I learned how to break stuff down pretty quick and started teaching more and more, and then I dove more into choreography. But my palette was hip hop, so I would kind of fuse what I learned in hip hop, but make it in choreography form. And then some routines I would, pop stuff too. You know what I mean? But you play around with just movement and ideas and concepts. But yeah, I booked one job, and then little jobs here and there that, I booked like a gum commercial, icebreaker gum commercial.
Those are big gigs.
They were, but I wasn't principal.
Okay.
I was mainly background, and they actually had to bump me because they caught my head on camera. And so I ended up, catching a residual check. I was like 21, dude, or something like 20, I think.
But most people that have never worked in that industry, they don't understand like the advantages you have when you book just one gig out of the year. Yeah. Like a commercial you get residual checks for like a couple years.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or movies that if you have a line.
Yeah.
Or, and I guess you would say going on tour would probably be the one thing that everyone wants to do, right? Because that's the most consistent.
It's consistent work, and you're on tour, and like you get to travel the world and be with whatever artist you're touring with, whether it be Christina Aguilera at the time or there's a huge pop movement in the early 2000s, and I moved to LA in 2001.
When it was hot, right?
When it was hot. I mean, it was super hot. It was Christina Aguilera, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Christina Milian to like all these pop artists were just popping off, man.
And breakers were all kind of, it was like a
novelty acts.
Yeah. They were all casting breakers. Like each one of these artists had at least one breaker on tour with them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like Crumbs. Ariston was another. Flowmaster was another. There was a lot of there were B-boys. I don't want to call them industry B-boys, but there were B-boys that were working in the industry.
Yeah.
Legit B-boys too. It wasn't just these dudes that learned how to do windmills and then booked. But then sometimes they would book some of those guys too. Yeah. But then when they actually stood up on top, you can tell you just learned how to do windmills. Like, you don't actually
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
Because we've seen a lot of those too. It's like they
yeah.
just have one move and they get booked for that one move. And
Yeah.
usually head spins was that move.
Either head
Yeah,
spins
head
or
spins.
yeah,
Yeah.
or somebody else's move.
All right, so let's talk about the birth of Jabbawockeez.
Okay.
Who created that crew? Who started Jabbawockeez?
Kevin and Joe. KB, he's who I had to battle to get into Jabbawockeez. So that was kind of like my initiation into the crew. But Joe Larott and Kevin Brewer were the founders of Jabbawockeez.
And
Or
what
not
year?
were, are the founders. Officially 2003, I would say, but I think it was already kind of formulating like 2002-ish. And then officially Culture Shock San Diego was when they debuted Jabbawockeez.
Yeah.
I think they might have done a couple other clubs prior to that, like Conga Room or some other stuff. One Cypher, I believe, or maybe that might have been later. God, it's been so long, but
I was
Kevin-
there at that first performance too.
Were you?
Before the mask.
So the ski mask.
Ski mask,
Yeah,
the white
yeah,
hat,
yeah,
the
yeah.
white gloves.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the same movement, but obviously the white mask didn't
Sa-
come till later.
Yeah, the white mask didn't come till the next performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the original mask. But we went through a couple different variations of
Yeah,
masks before
yeah.
we settled on the white mask. But yeah, Kevin and Joe started it in San Diego. Rainin was, San Diego native, but also was in Culture Shock. And Rainin was also in Rhythm Bugs. And Rainin was, even at one point California Rainin was in a lot of different crews in Southern California. So, and he was the bridge from the community side in LA. I knew Rainin in LA because we would audition at the same auditions. And we were like one of like two of like maybe nobody, no Asian dudes at these auditions. So we would always like, we just kind of clicked up. It's like high school, man. Like
Yeah.
you see someone that looks like you and kind of thinks like you and listens to the same music and have the same interests. You end up clicking up with that dude, So he kind of told me about Jabbawockeez. He's like, bro,
okay.
like you should meet my crew, man. Like these guys break, but they also freestyle and they also pop. Like you do all that, bro. Like I'm like, really? He's like, dude, and you listen to music just like how we all
Yeah.
listen to music. Like it's the same musicality. And at that time, we felt like we were listening to music way different than anybody else.
100%.
And we were also showing it too. I'm sure there were people doing it, but I don't know. We just felt like we were different, man. Not
Yeah.
necessarily that we thought we were better. We just thought that we were onto something, and how we would manipulate the beats and actually just literally be the sight to sound, as opposed to just dancing to music and counts and hitting and counts here and there. We'd hit every single layer of the song, and that's how I used to pick apart music. And then fast forward, Gary Kendall, which is our OG, right? Rest in peace, G. I knew him through the convention scene because I was teaching on a convention called Urban Jam. And when I was judging these conventions, a lot of these kids would enter hip hop numbers, but they were doing jazz funk. And I'm one of the judges, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, I mean, it's cool. They're kids, they're studio kids, like they're trying, but whoever's teaching them ain't teaching them hip hop.
Right.
And then I seen Gary's kids jump on stage, and they were locking correctly. They were doing their Uncle Sam's. They were doing footwork. They were hitting six steps, CCs. They were hitting legit freezes, and you can tell they've been you can tell they were trained.
Yeah. The right form.
Well, you can see
Not
the
like
form.
the sticking your toes
Yeah,
out.
you already know. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not clowning. I'm just.
Yeah.
There is a separation. You
For
can
sure.
definitely see the separation. And that's when I was like, yo, who are these kids? And they ended up winning the competition. It was in the studio's in Santa Rosa, but the convention was in Santa Clara, like Northern California. And I went up to one of the kids. I was like, yo, who's your teacher? And they're like, it's him. His name's Gary. And I met Gary. Then I got to know all his history. And he's in a crew called Mind Tricks.
Yeah.
And he was Stevie B's dancer back in like the 90s. And
Wow.
you know what I mean? Like Gary
So he was way, way back.
He was
He was doing it before most people were doing it in the early 2000s.
he was an industry dancer before there was an industry
Yeah.
for dancers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
It was kind of like if the artist knew who you were, you were a club dancer and they
Yeah.
would just pick you up and let's go on tour. There was no agencies, there was no, you know what I mean? Small world type stuff. Like Gary knew Rainin, Gary knew Kevin and Joe because Kevin and Joe were in Mind Tricks.
Right. So they're already in the crew.
So then, like, I knew them separately.
In Sacramento, in the Bay.
Well, Joe and Kevin are from Sacramento, but they would always travel to the Bay and train with Mind Tricks.
Right.
So, so I would always go to San Diego and link up with them. Gary would come to LA and we would teach classes together. Rainin would come in and take my class and then even sub my classes or teach class, or, you know, we were boys, man, you know, so we just so I kind of formed this little clique with them, and that's kind of the birth of Jabbawockeez.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't there for the birth of it. I literally came the year after. So it started in 2003.
You're still an OG.
I'm an OG
but
now,
I always feel like I was there behind the scenes watching all these shows in person, because I remember Jabba, if you were in this performance at Crumbs' event.
The Styles Element.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was in that. Yeah.
Okay, so that was, and of course, you know, Chris Styles being part of it and him being in full force. So I was always seeing it. So eventually, years later, you guys ended up winning a big show called MTV's America's Best Dance Crew Season 1.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that journey and the whole process, even auditioning for that show.
Man, it first came to us through Napoleon and Tabitha.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had already asked Jabbawockeez to perform in their, I don't know if you remember, but choreographers carnivals.
Yeah. That's another one too. Yeah.
Okay, let me rewind a little bit. Napoleon and Tabitha were known to kind of always have concepts in their like they didn't just have choreo on stage, like, so they did a whole Star Wars theme.
Right.
And every section had like these dudes with backward mask, and then they had like the Wookiees, and then they had the Jabbawockeez in one section. And then they even had C-3PO, you know, girls, and they were painted.
That's right. I remember that.
Like gold, and, you know, I remember, it was, you know, it was just crazy, man. So everyone had a little section, and Napoleon and Tabitha, I grew up watching them because they did Vegas Culture Shock.
Right.
And Roman is from Phoenix. Roman's one of my Arizona OGs. And Roman was living in Vegas at the time, and he was a part of Vegas Culture Shock. So that's how I knew about Napoleon and Tabitha. So that was my relationship with them in LA. When I moved to LA, they were kind of like my OGs, right? And so they asked me to be in their carnival piece, and I was in a section, but they would rehearse different sections at different days. So I wouldn't meet the other section until we actually got to tech rehearsal at the Key Club. And then when I got there, that's when I seen KB and all those dudes, and I was like, oh, and then Rainin was like, yo, man, this is Jabbawockeez. And that's how I kind of fell into it. But yeah, I was in a whole different section, so I didn't even see it till tech rehearsal.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yo, and then I seen what they did, and I was like, that's exactly what, I mean, they came out to DJ Shadow, they came out to like beats that no one in the industry was even thinking about dancing to.
It was your vibe.
Complete, because I grew up, you know, with turntablism music, man. I listened to the Q-Berts and the Mixmaster Mics and the Scratch Pickles, and, you know, Z-Trip is a legend, and he's from Arizona. He's like a Arizona legend. So, and he was a part of a crew called Bomb Shelter DJs back in like the 90s, and DJ Radar and Emil and all these dudes that were just turntablists, you know, and that's the kind of, like, we were backpacker kids, you know, so we listened to that style of music. And so in the industry, no one was dancing to stuff like that. So when I seen Jabbawockeez pop up on that carnival piece, and this is 2003.
Yeah. Same year.
Same year. And so that's when Rainin, so now fast forward, that's when Rainin and I became even closer, and then I started kicking it with Kevin and Joe more, and then I connected the dots that they knew Gary, and then I was like, oh wait, you're in Gary's crew? They're like, how do you know Gary? I'm like, I knew G from Urban Jam.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, so fast forward back to what we were talking about earlier, that's how the whole dots connected.
So like a lot of serendipity moments, right?
So serendipity moments. So fast forward to ABDC.
ABDC, yeah.
Napoleon and Tabitha were like, yo, there's this new show that you guys should audition for. I think you guys would be great for it. And we were kind of like iffy about it. Like, nah, man, that's MTV, you know, because back then they had a lot of like, I think reality TV was starting to bubble. Like Real World was already happening in the 90s, but then by then Real World like 15 was out or something like that. But then they had like A Shot of Love, like Tequila, and it's just like this kind of trashy reality TV that we were insecure, man. We didn't know how they're gonna make these kids look.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're total hip hop heads. Like, we ain't trying to go on the show and have these producers and the industry make us look like we're these ghetto ass kids. You know what I mean? So we were kind of iffy about it. Gary was like, yo, this is something I think we should do, man. Like, this is a good opportunity because we're trying to make a name for ourselves. Like, why wouldn't we do it? And we're like, yeah, but we're doing all these underground events and we're doing style elements, performances. We're doing culture shock. Like,
trying to be purist.
Trying to be purist, man. Yeah. Fast forward, Gary passed away. And then that's all he talked about. So we were like, man, let's go do it. You know, let's do it. Who can do it? And it kind of led into one thing another. And there's people that wanted to do it but couldn't, because like Joe created the crew. He's one of the co-founders, right? Couldn't do it because he's about to have a baby. So life was lifing for us at the time. And some people had regular jobs. Like dance was something fun for us to do. It wasn't a career. I think out of the crew, it was me and Rainian that were actually trying to pursue it, living in LA. And I'm kind of giving you cliff notes, but yeah, Gary passed away and we all just decided like, yo, let's go rep this for Gary. Let's go do it. So we ended up auditioning. We got kept in the audition. And then the first episode was still considered the audition episode.
Yeah, the audition special.
And we made it to the first episode, and the very first episode was Apologize.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about that too, because you choreographed one of the most iconic performances on ABDC and Apologize by One Republic.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that process and the challenge that they thought, because they thought they were throwing like a wrench, right?
There was no process to it because I was already teaching. So I already had that routine in my pocket.
That's amazing.
And the challenges of the show was every week they would pick the artist and the song and give us a 1 minute challenge to come up with a routine with it. And the producers were they didn't know about our culture, bro. They're just trying to put on a show. You know what I mean? And I mean that respectfully. I'm not gonna bash producers or anything like that, but they weren't a part of the culture like that. And I think they just viewed us as just a B-boy crew. And we weren't. Like, we're an all-element crew. You know what I mean? Like, we'd freestyle, we'd lock, pop, house, breaking elements, you name it. But they just thought we were a breakdancing crew. Breakdancers, right? And so the first episode, one of the producers was like, we got something for you guys. We got something. And I'll never forget his name. His name's Lewis, right? And he was like, we got something that'll stump you guys.
I remember Lewis.
Yeah, cool guy. But, you know, we were the contestants. He was on the production side, you know what I mean? So, yeah, he was just like, we got something that will totally stump you guys. And, okay, hands us the CD. And this is how long ago it was, because they're still giving out CDs. They hand us the CD, and we open it up, and it says, One Republic, Apologize.
Yeah.
And then immediately the whole crew goes, oh, okay. And we just like, okay. And didn't say nothing. And we're like, all right, V, you got a routine already, because I've been teaching to it.
Yeah.
So I already had a routine that I had been teaching for the last like year and a half. I've been traveling with it. I taught it like in Estonia and Russia. Like I traveled and did work, like international workshops and stuff, you know? So they were like, all right, well, just teach it real quick. Literally learned it in maybe like 20 minutes.
So you already knocked out that first episode or that first challenge.
Dude, the first challenge was completely already done without us even knowing that it was done.
How crazy is that?
So we literally just learned my routine, and then obviously for staging purposes, we blocked it differently.
Yeah.
Because I just taught it was a class routine, bro. It wasn't meant for stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that episode blew up.
It blew up. Surprisingly enough, you know, and I'm humbled by it for sure, but that wasn't even one of my favorite routine. Like I was teaching so much, it was just, in my mind, it kind of like a throwaway routine.
Yeah.
Even the movement I wasn't proud of, because it was kind of like movement 101 to me.
Yeah. And I think that's what people gravitated towards, you know, because it was so digestible and easy to learn that it was easy for people to mimic it.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, without sounding like I'm dissing anybody, but it's kind of like movement for dummies. You know what I mean? Like, but because I taught beginning hip hop.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would teach watered down moves so they can digest it.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to get these guys to do freaking jackhammers or like 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, or like super like technical like waves, and it's just like basic movement 101. And I choreographed it. I used to drive like a Volkswagen Golf. It was a stick shift. So if you kind of like look at the movement, I choreographed a lot of it driving in my car to the edge. So that's why I was like, okay, but it was already done. Then even the homies were like, I mean, let's just learn it, because at least we have a foundation, and then we can, you know, salt bay that junk. And we ended up spicing it up just a little bit, but the movement was pretty much the same, but we staged it how we staged it, and then we remixed it a little bit, and it became what it became. But yeah, it wasn't like we poured our heart and soul into that episode or anything.
So you guys made it all the way to the end. You ended up winning the whole thing. What was that feeling like? Did you already have a feeling that you guys were going to take it all the way? Was there any speed bumps along the way?
No, man. I mean, I think everyone's going to have their own version of the story.
Yeah.
But for me, I think we were just so focused on repping Gary that we didn't care. But we also knew, because we were watching, we could see already on the show, we were like the OGs in the dance scene already, because people already knew who we were.
Right. So everyone already looked up to you guys.
Kind of. I wouldn't say look up, but they just knew who we were. Maybe some people did, but like Cabo Modern, they were, like there's Earth years and then there's dance years. We were like already older in dance years.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You guys were seasoned.
We were seasoned already, because we'd already been doing shows as a crew. A lot of these crews were put together for the show.
True.
And especially after season 1, I would say about to like season 3 and 4 is when all these crews started forming these crews so we could be on the show. We were a legit crew already. Just like Super Crew was a legit crew already, Like, how was it when we won? I mean, dude, there was a lot of inside jokes, bro. It was just, we were living at a hotel for like 2 months, and every time we got a challenge, it was
easy.
It was easy for us. Our chemistry was already there.
Yeah.
We definitely didn't want to come off whack, but we were just like, whatever, as long as we're repping Gary, we're all good, bro.
Yeah.
Did we know we were gonna win? We were confident in what we were putting out, but I don't think we had the mentality of like, oh, we're gonna win. We weren't sizing anybody up. We were just worried about ourselves, really.
Confident. You guys were confident.
We were confident. I think that's what you saw through camera too.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And I think that's why America fell in love with us. We were having fun, man.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like at that point Gary had already passed, so there's no, like, we're just doing it to rep his name at this point, like there's no drama, you know what I mean? There's no, like, the drama was that Gary passed, but even before we agreed to do the show, we were like, we knew Gary's funeral was coming up, but it was conflicting with us being on the show. So we were like, we'll only do the show if we can actually leave to go do the funeral. And they were like, yeah, but we're shooting. We're like, we don't care. Well, then we won't do the show.
Wow.
And so they let us go to Gary's funeral in the middle of our Icebox challenge, I think.
Wow. That was like the second episode then. So
I think it was like third. I think it was third or fourth episode.
Right.
I can't fully remember. It was, and they wanted to go send camera, like a crew to go Gary's funeral. We're like, no, man, this is like a personal moment for us. Like, no. So they were overall pretty respectful of our they respected our requests. But yeah, it's a TV show, bro. They're trying to get the drama. They're trying to get shoot packages and but we stood our ground, bro. And then I don't think they knew how big we were going to be, and we lucked out with our contract. Yeah, I think our season made everyone else's contract a lot harder.
Oh,
sorry about that.
For sure, yeah. So you guys went on to winning season 1. Season 2 came along, and then Super Crew won season 2, and then we went on tour together. And I specifically remember just like that tour life with you guys and how you guys knew how to map out the shows, because you guys would do your numbers and you would be backstage just no sweat, changing into your next outfit, while Super Crew, we were sweating balls, we were breathing hard, and we just had the hardest time because our numbers when we perform were so hard to do as breakers, because we were just guns blazing, 0 to 100.
Absolutely.
And as a breaker and choreographing shows, it was harder for us to like put together like these longer formatted numbers.
Yeah.
So fast forward, we ended up working with you guys in your residency show here in Las Vegas.
Yep.
So let's talk about how that came about.
I mean, we were on tour together, and we're like cousin crews. Like, it's a big family. Like, when Super Crew was on season 2, we were like, let's go, bro. And it was a legit B-boy crew, and you guys weren't a crew that was just put together for the show. Like, you guys were repping the culture, and of course we were rooting for you guys, and then our fan base was rooting for you guys, and then our fan base became your fan base, and then your fan base became our fan base, and it was just like a big family. So it was kind of like a Superwockee thing. So when we ended up getting this contract with MGM, it was just kind of like, duh, like who else are we gonna call? You know, like, yo, we have this opportunity, and you're from Vegas. You know, Chris is from Vegas. Benamar's from Vegas.
The
like,
stars just aligned, yeah.
duh. Like, it was just like perfect fit, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect fit. You know, and
We made magic together for
we
sure.
definitely made magic. I mean, we made so much magic that we're here almost 2 decades later,
Yeah, that's insane.
which trips me out because it still feels like we're just getting started.
So in 2010, 15 years ago, we started this show, Muse IC. And personally, I feel like I learned so much rocking with you guys. And as Super Crew, we even learned how to put together a 60 to 90 minute theater show. What advice would you give breakers now trying to create a theater show? Because like I said, usually at a battle of the year, it's like 5-minute show, and you could already see these breakers getting gassed out because I could only imagine all the hard moves that we're doing. So as a professional, what advice would you give these breakers that are trying to create a whole theater show?
I don't know if it's necessarily advice. It's something that most of these b-boys already know. Like, you know, when you're battling, you don't just blow your load in the first round. Do you know what I mean? Like you kind of
do.
Some do. Some do. And
Some just want to blow it up. It's just like,
which is dope.
And then they make it to the finals and they're like, I feel like with breaking, endurance always plays like the biggest, part of why breakers lose in the competition. They have all the moves, but they don't have enough stamina.
Correct. And when you're doing a 90-minute show, there's so much wiggle room to build up to a moment.
Yes. And that's exactly what we learned from you guys. Because our whole thing was moment after moment after moment. It's like, pace yourself.
Yeah. And that would be the advice. Like, build up to the moment. Build up to the big, what is that moment too? Like, what makes that moment special? And it's called a moment because it's got to be memorable.
Yeah.
And so that's how we kind of operated. I mean, we've already been doing it since, 2000 and, as a crew, 2003, but even individually with our own crews and our own dance companies and our own putting together our own shows and choreographing for other people. Like, we knew how to kind of build it up. So we just applied everything we learned on the field to Jabbawockeez. Fast forward 2010, Muse IC. And yeah, man, we were able to tell a story, build it up. It starts like anything, man.
Yeah.
It's got to start kind of just like starting your car before you drive it in the winter. You want to warm it up before you get in and start driving it. So, we like to warm it up a little bit with just different sounds, different music.
Yeah.
Different moods, because every song has a different mood to it.
Yeah. Let's dig deeper into that, just musicality-wise, because you guys dissect music differently from most crews. You know how breakers are. It's always just like really quick and
Yeah.
heavy. You know what I'm trying to say? Just like the pace is different for breakers. So what recommendations? Obviously, as Super Crew, we've learned so much from you guys, and the music selection is even different too.
Yeah. I think if you just let the song tell you, you can kind of map it out. Like, sometimes before I even see movement or even start moving my body, I'll let the song tell me, like, oh, okay, this part, okay. And then, it's literally because we don't show facial expressions and because we solely rely off of our movement, we literally just try to be the sight to the sound, whether it's a snare or like a hi-hat, like a like, well, how does that look?
The texture.
The texture, just what does that sound look like to you, and how are you going to interpret that sound? Or if it's a kick, like a do do do, or like a bass, or how are you going to kind of show that and be the sight to sound? You can freak every part of the music too without freaking every part of the music. Some people try to move like so intricate that it's just like, it's almost like eye traffic. But then you watch someone like KB, it's like, yo, you just freaked like every part of the song without even freaking, you know what I mean? Like, I totally, before I saw him move to a song, I didn't even hear it. I would hear the song, and then when I see him dance to it, I'd be like, yo, I didn't even hear that part of the song. I actually just saw it.
Yeah.
So that's how we apply.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and that's what I see when I watch Jabbawockeez and what I've learned even performing with the crew.
Yeah. So that's
dope.
That's kind of like our philosophy, man. We just try to literally be the music, and we try to embody the music and get to a point where it doesn't look like we're dancing to the song. It looks like the song's moving us.
Yeah.
You know.
So dope.
And it, for whatever reason, it kind of it comes out on stage, and it's just one of those things that either you see it or you don't.
Yeah.
And some people don't see it. Some people hear it. Some people actually hear it but can't see it. I think we're blessed with whatever super talent that we're blessed with. Like, we're able to balance the two and combine it and make it into what it is. And you know, we didn't even realize we were creating a style.
Yeah.
We even hear people say, "Oh, it's that Jabbawockeez style," and we're like, "That's weird." Like, to
So,
me,
Jabbawockeez, what does that name represent, or what does it mean?
so Jabbawockeez to me is just like a universal way of moving. You know, it's just pure movement. It's a representation of sound.
Love it.
That's Jabbawockeez to me. And also, it's, you know, I love it because it really is just, it's universal. It's a universal language. Dance is a universal language. You know, you can be a kid in Japan, you could be a kid in Kazakhstan, speaking two different languages, but the moment we start moving, we're speaking the same language. And it don't matter it don't matter your gender, your race, your sexual preference, it don't matter. It's about art. And that's what we represent. We're just trying to represent the art of movement. That's Jabbawockeez to me.
All right, so you've been on tour, you've been around the world. What were some of your favorite experiences or moments?
With you guys on ABDC tour.
Okay.
That was
dope, yeah.
I mean, we were in so many different cities, but just
on the tour bus,
the tour bus, the backstage antics, the late night, you know, talking about dance at the hotel room, the just even going out to eat and finding a restaurant in some random city that we probably never thought we'd ever be in. You know what I mean? That ABDC was a memorable moment for me. A lot of my personal memorable moments are with you guys. Brazil, when we did Red Bull BC1.
That's right. Rio de Janeiro.
2012, dude.
Yeah.
And we were
that was my number one. When people ask me what was my favorite experience traveling, that's always been like one of my favorites. Like, hands down.
That was a big one for me. And now we had already done Muse IC here in Vegas. We had already done the ABDC tour. So now the super crew and Jabbawockeez chemistry is just like, you know, I say this confidently, not arrogantly. Our chemistry was just unmatched.
Yeah.
Compared to anybody in the world, you know. And the brotherhood was just, it was there, you know. Some of us argued like brothers, but then we also, when we had to go to war, meaning against, you know, when we had to put on a show, like we won the battle. Like, not only did we win the battles, we also would win the war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt like Brazil was the first time the world actually got to see how our chemistry worked.
100%.
In the B-boy world and in the choreo world. And it was almost like it was, and you know, B-boys don't give you easy props, man. And we're performing at Red Bull in Brazil at the World Finals. And, you know, for them to give us that kind of props, it's like, and it's not easy. It's not, you got to earn that junk. You know what I mean? You can't just, they're not just going to give you props just because you did a cool move. Like,
and that experience was just so raw too.
I mean, dude, it was just probably one of the rawest moments in my career, you know? And then for us as Jabbawockeez, when we toured the Philippines.
Oh, that was another cool experience.
That was, I mean,
we caught the second leg with
you guys caught the second leg, and it was still crazy, the second leg, but the first leg, you know, Filipinos are so proud, bro. And predominantly at the time, the crew, it wasn't like we were specifically a Filipino crew, but there were a lot of Filipino members that repped, and, you know, Filipinos be riding, you know, like tough. So when we actually went out to the Philippines for the first time and toured, we did, like, I think it was called Mall of Asia or somewhere in Manila. It's like big old mall, and it was like 5 stories, and it was like just filled, and all you see is camera flashes. And that was the first time it was, I mean, ABDC tour was cool, but it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
felt the impact of just like the fan base.
So what
was your craziest experience with fanatics just you know, where you felt unsafe even?
Philippines was one. I mean, because in order to get into the mall, we had to like, there was no like back entrance to get it and get to our backstage and all that. Like we had to like go through the mall. So when we got there, it was easier because people were just setting up and building up and getting there. And then once after the show was done, getting out back to our van was the most special but also nerve-wracking experience for me. Because, I mean, people were just screaming at us. And we're not used to that kind of attention, you know what I mean? And we had like human barricades that would like escort us through. I have footage of it.
Nuts,
You're
yeah.
in it.
Yeah, that was the second.
And
that's
that was the second leg.
Yeah, yeah.
The first leg was
we
just-
do have footage of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because we were backstage and we didn't know what to expect. And then when I walked out, the human barricade or the securities that were just so that we didn't get bombarded.
Well,
or
it was the local Manila police that was the human barricade.
My goodness, yeah.
And then it was the mall. It was the mall security.
Yeah.
And then our personal security.
Yeah.
And then us.
Yeah.
And we're like walking around, and everyone's just trying to touch.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just feeling,
And
you know.
even when we got to the van, I felt like they're even moving the van.
Oh, you hear the
and-
do, 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 like all the
Yeah,
vans just like.
That's insane.
It felt like we were Backstreet Boys, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
I mean, while we were on tour, there were times where Jabbawockeez had like screaming, crying fans, and it was a time in our careers where I was just like, wow, we made it.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was, you know, definitely humbling experience.
Yeah, humbling experience for sure. Like obviously, like I could see what these real celebrities go through and why they don't seek that kind of attention. 'Cause
Yeah, no, for sure. It's crazy to want to be recognized for your talent, but then you also have to deal with crazy, you know, fanatics.
Yeah.
And I mean that respectfully. You know, when I say crazy, it's like, well, that's why they're called fanatics too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they're not just fans. There's levels of it. There's fans and then there's fanatics.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
they have like a different level of obsession for people's success, which is flattering.
Yeah.
But it could be a little
but it could be
at the
scary,
same
you know,
time.
because
Yeah.
you're all, at the end of the day, we're all normal people, bro. We all,
especially as dancers, we don't look at ourselves like
no, not at all.
we're
man.
artists, but we're not, you know, celebrities. Like we're ghetto celebrities.
Yeah, pretty much, you know, but we're also family men.
Yeah.
We're also someone's son. We're
Yeah,
also
we're
someone's
human.
brother. We're human, you know, like we don't want to be bothered. Just like, that's why when I see celebrities, there's a part of me where I'm like, if it organically happens, I'll be like, hey man, huge fan. You know, we live in a town where you see nothing but UFC fighters and and they're out there eating and I kind of want to be like, oh dude, that's, oh dude, like, but you know, he's out with his girl eating, like, am I gonna go bother him? You know what I mean? And I'm not knocking the people that actually approach you. There's people that approach you correctly.
Yeah.
There's some people just say like the weirdest things and, you know, they don't realize that you're human. You're kind of like.
Yeah. And I mean, not for nothing, there are celebrities that love the spotlight. When they're not getting it, they're just like, okay, what's going on?
Right, right.
They seek that attention, you know?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, dude, I mean, even before the Philippines, like we did an autograph signing right after we won ABDC in San Diego. And at Chic,
yeah, Chic,
right?
That shoe store still exists.
Yeah. Okay. So it was a glass store and there was girls like pinned up against the wall, like banging and screaming. And I would just like look at him like, this is just wild, dude. Like, we just dance.
Yeah.
We didn't cure cancer or nothing. Like, I don't know what, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was kind of like a weird, but humbling at the same time experience. But then, yeah, you know, as the years go on, it's not, now it's been so long since we've been on the show, but the brand is still strong.
Yeah.
And I love it because now we get to experience the I call it the Peter Parker syndrome. Like, I get to walk around and be normal because I'm Peter Parker. But the moment you put the mask on, you see people's change. And it happens till this day. Even when we go do a gig, we walk in just as normal. Some people kind of like, who the hell are these dudes? A bunch of these Asian kids wearing kith and all, you know. Some people wear Jabbawockeez clothes, but, you know, everyone's wearing their own streetwear brands, and then we're walking into our green room and whatever. And some of the security is just like super dismissive that work at the venue that we go and do or whatever. But the moment you slap on the mask and the character comes out, they're like, oh, yo, like,
Yeah,
and then
cameras out.
they'll follow us and,
yeah.
hey, can I get a selfie? And You know, you see Spider-Man. You see everyone's reaction to Spider-Man, but when we walk in, we're just Peter Parker, and it's humbling, man, because we get to, you know, we go rock shows, like we open up for Joe Coy and we do a whole arena, and they're blown up for us.
Erupt, yeah.
And then at the end of the show, we're just walking out like normal, and no one even knows who we are, unless they're like diehard fans and they've followed our journey. But you know, everyone's there to see Joe anyways, so it's like, it's a beautiful time, man. Like, I love it.
Well, one of my personal crazy experience with a fan, and it was a meet and greet that we were doing at Super Crew, was seeing a fan with a Super Crew tattoo.
Oh yeah.
And the Jabbawockeez tattoo.
Yeah.
So they were a huge Superwockee fan. And that actually hit hard because I didn't realize that what we were doing together actually made an impact. And like you were saying, a lot of your fan base ended up following us.
Yeah.
And ended up.
And vice versa, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's crazy, man, because to see people with tattoos of our crew, our individual crew, and then our crew, it is like, it trips me out because I have no tattoos. I don't have any, like, I'm a clean canvas, you know what I mean? And I don't even have, and I'm ride or die Jabbawockeez all day. But to see someone like really get so inspired that they would actually
brand themselves
permanently, it's very humbling,
fan,
man. And it does go to show, like, you know, like the pressure of being influential is kind of like I'm, you know, I don't know, man. Like, dude, you're Jabbawockeez, you know, you changed my life.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, man, that's humbling, but it's also kind of like, you know, my human side's like, really, dude? Like, but I also understand the power of it, and I would never want to, you know, abuse it, man. And I think that's why we're at where we're at.
Yeah.
And we're still growing. Yeah. We have a whole another generation underneath us that's, you know, that's carrying the legacy. Yeah. And, you know, we're realizing that the mask is bigger than any one of us. It's bigger than even the guys that created the crew. And that to me means more than anything.
That definitely speaks more volumes. And going back on the influence and the inspiration that you had, not just this new generation, but even going back to when you guys won the show, I know that there was dancers that started because of Jabbawockeez and watching the performances on ABDC and following your whole journey. And I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it, but, you know, a couple of these dancers now work with you.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy to think that we started their dance career by them just watching us on ABDC, or even as early as, not as early, but as recent as even YouTube. And then now, you know, the brand is obviously growing. And we have the mask is growing. And to hear their stories is like, man, I watched you guys when I was like 12, and now I'm like, wow, now you're in rehearsals with us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you, like, dude, it's dope. Because in our generation, dance wasn't a career. A career in dance wasn't an option. And now this younger generation, it's like, yo, I want to be a dancer. And you know, and some of them are like, I want to be a Jabbawockeez.
And you guys created that lane. You guys created an opportunity for dancers to actually, like, tiers, you know? You could start here and then there. If you want to be a Jabbawockeez, this is what you got to do. Yeah. You know, there's like an ecosystem created.
It's cool, man. And I was always the youngest guy in the group, and now I'm the older guy in the room. Sometimes the oldest guy in the room. But I love at the age that we're at. I love at what we've done. I love that what we're still doing. And I love seeing the future and seeing what we're about to do. And I love dance, man. We love dance. We love it so much that we want to give a platform for kids that had our dreams, you know.
So what's next for Jabbawockeez? You guys started in 2010 with Muse IC.
Yep.
Prism.
Yep.
Dreams.
Yep.
Timeless.
Yep. We're currently working on our new production called Frequency. Yeah, we started our contract in 2010. Fast forward, it's 2025. We just renewed another 5 to 8 year contract. So that's the newest thing. There's certain things that I don't want to reveal quite yet, because we don't like to just reveal everything, but we definitely have a bright future ahead of us. We're excited about how the mask is growing and what it's become and where we're trying to make it go.
Mm-hmm.
And we're excited to give the future an opportunity to pursue their dreams through our platform, and find an identity and make a living out of it, and not just be a dancer, but like learn and grow from the experience. And then you can grow into video production, you can grow into a lighting designer, you can grow into, you're not just there learning to be a dancer, and now with social media, you can grow into be in marketing or the social media department, but you still have this other skill set. And Jabbawockeez has grown so much as a company and as a brand that we have all these different departments that people can have an opportunity to grow in. But it starts out as dance.
Yeah. You guys really pushed the envelope. I remember there was a time where we had a Red Bull project and we ended up renting out HQ, and some of our Red Bull peeps came to the office and they didn't realize that it wasn't just a studio.
Right.
You have a whole department that's just focused on wardrobe. You have a music studio.
Yeah.
And it's legit. It's a real company.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not just a dance crew.
Yeah, no, it started out as a garage, and now we have different pockets of, and we have different garages, you know what I mean? And every garage is specific to wardrobe. This is for media and marketing. This is video content. This garage is strictly for music. This garage is strictly for creating dance and movement. It's our own, I'm a big Rob Dyrdek fan, not just of his skating, but of his
entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and now he was able to put people on and give them opportunities and all that. And Fantasy Factory was one of the shows that one of few shows that I liked on MTV. You know what I mean? We kind of have our own Fantasy Factory, man. We got video games there. We even have a golf simulator in there. It's cool to see what it's grown into, and you walk in, like, we're able to provide 9-to-5s for people, health insurance, like everything, man. And it's cool. We never in our wildest dreams never thought it would be where it's at.
Larger than life, man. Even in Las Vegas, to accomplish what you guys have in the past 15 years, there's not a lot of shows that stood the test of time. You guys have been here for 15 years. Most shows' shelf life is like 10 at that, right?
Yeah.
And you guys already are going on 2 decades.
I mean, most restaurants and clubs. I mean, we've been here long enough to see restaurants close, to see nightclubs close, to see other shows close, and for us to, I mean, even right now, there's certain shows that are closing, and we're over here, producing another one. It's
amazing,
so
man.
I think he's responsible for it. I think Gary's responsible for it, and we're blessed with all this opportunity, and we don't want to take it for granted. And we realize, again, the mask is bigger than any one of us, so we're trying to just do right by it, man, and give people the opportunity to shine, through our platform, and we get to do it together, bro. And I know we're doing this podcast, like sitting here talking. It's weird because I'd talk to you every night,
every day.
but now we're sitting here with microphones and cameras in front of us. You know what I mean? And it's cool to be able to tell my story, my version of it, and we're very proud, man. We're very proud, and we get to do it with. And not everyone can say this. Like, some people might have really good jobs, but some people have to work with people that they don't want to work with. I think we've been very blessed for the last more than almost two decades now, that we get to pick and choose who we work with.
Yeah.
And it's always you and Super Crew fam and the Vegas scene, and you know what I mean, like, and seeing the kids that you used to teach that come up through full force, that are now growing into it, and then now. Yeah. It's like it's one big family, bro. Now these young kids are working with us, and they're working with you, and they have an opportunity to travel and go battle. Like, they have fundraisers for them to go and do it. Like, no one was having fundraisers for us to go to our events. You know what I mean? Like I think we created a beautiful ecosystem out here, man.
For sure.
And we love Las Vegas, bro. Vegas is like, even though I'm born and raised in Phoenix, this is home to me, you know? And it feels like Phoenix. It's the same desert, just a couple hundred miles the other way. So it's a very cool ecosystem that we were able to cultivate.
We're truly blessed, man. I always have those moments too, where even if I have an off day or a bad day, I always look back at just how far we've come and how blessed we've been. You know, like we're part of a small percentage of entertainers that are still able to do it.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've been doing it for so long, and I think a lot of it is because we're not only doing it for ourselves, we're looking at the bigger picture. We're trying to give opportunities to, keeping the Jabbawockeez legacy alive, the Super Crew legacy alive, the Full Force legacy alive, and you see it because you see the family orientation. We're not just getting anyone in for their talents. We're actually trying to, build people up and getting people down to have great character, because I think that's what's important too. So with that being said, a lot of people that are down with us in the circle are family. Like you have KB, whose son's
in the show. I know, man. I remember
that's the most beautiful thing I've heard. I'm like, wow, I remember him. Another full circle moment. We shot something for ABDC at Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory. Yeah. And he was a baby. Me and KB were talking about that. He was a baby, and they're pushing him in, the cart, bro. And now he's dancing in the show.
He was just born when we were on ABDC. I remember him. And then now I walk in and I look up to him when I talk to him. You know what I mean?
What's up, Uncle Fee?
Hey, what's up, Uncle Fee? I'm like, dude, who's this dude? You know what I mean? Like, and now he's working with a company that his dad created.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That makes my heart smile.
And
that's
he gets
so
to do with all his uncles and you know, and that's just our immediate family. Like it's bigger than just even Jabbawockeez, bro. Like, there was a generation before us. They had to do what they did to give us the platform.
Very true, very true.
And some people might look at us differently. Some people might feel like we're not doing it the right way, but some people show us love too. I'm not gonna name anybody in particular, but there is a generation that we grew up looking up to.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we're at either. So it's important for us to we have lightning in a bottle right now, Yeah. Like for whatever reason that generation wasn't able to catch quite that lightning, but they gave us the platform.
Yeah. They definitely paved the way.
Absolutely, you know what I mean? 1,000%. And it's more than just the future. It's also we want to represent and do it for the past too. You know what I mean? And make them know that the road that they paved is I hope they feel like it's in good hands.
Yeah.
With our generation. Some might not feel that way, which everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I still respect them. You know what I mean? Like it's you don't have to like me or like what we do, or you might have an opinion on it, but ultimately, thank you. You know what I mean? Thank you, and we're just know our intent is to hold it up and keep this thing going till when we're gone. And when I say this thing, I don't mean just the mask. I mean the culture of the business and culture of dance, where kids can actually make a career out of it now.
Yeah. It's happening, man. We're seeing it in real time.
I mean, it made it to the Olympics.
Whew.
So sky's the limit, man.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, Fee. Appreciate you, Fee.
Thank you, bro.
Love you, man.
Love you too.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for tuning into District Talks. Don't forget to follow our YouTube channel and subscribe to @District Arts and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Peace.